Welcome to Quizmaster Hub. Are you ready for a history challenge? 50 questions, 10 seconds each. No pauses, no mercy. Let's see how smart you really are.
Where do the Aboriginals called the Ainu live?
C.
Japan.
Valentina Tereshevka was the first woman to do what in 1963? B. Travel in space.
What is the name of Beethoven's only opera?
B.
Fidelio.
Which notorious Australian robber was hanged at Melbourne in 1880?
A. Ned Kelly. What kind of shop first opened in Britain in 1948? C. A supermarket.
Who first sailed around Africa to India?
D. Vasco da Gama. Which space telescope is named after a U.S. astronomer? B. Hubble.
What sign of the abominable snowman has been photographed?
A. Footprint.
Which queen became Empress of India in 1776?
D. Victoria. What is the most common name for an English monarch? A. Henry, 8 times.
Of which country was Antonio Salazar once dictator?
B. Portugal.
Where did the space probe Venera 7 land in 1970?
B. On Venus. Where would a medieval knight have worn a cuirass? C. On his chest and back. Who created the Jumblies and the dong with the luminous nose? C. Edward Lear. On which island is Osborne House, home of Queen Victoria? B. Isle of Wight.
In which country did the poets Keats and Shelley die?
A. Italy.
Who was wrecked on the shore of Lilliput Island?
A.
Gulliver in Swift's Gulliver's Travels.
Which serving British Prime Minister survived an assassination attempt?
B.
Margaret Thatcher. How many children were born to Queen Victoria?
C. 9.
Who wrote the novel Far from the Madding Crowd?
A.
Thomas Hardy.
What was the name of the first atomic-powered submarine?
B.
Nautilus.
What does E stand for in Einstein's famous equation E equals mc squared?
C.
Energy. With what kind of surgery is Christian Bernard associated?
D.
Heart transplants.
What breakthrough in photography was pioneered by James Clerk Maxwell?
D.
Color photography. Who was the first European to sail around Cape Horn?
D.
Francis Drake.
Which islands off Ecuador inspired Charles Darwin's theory of evolution?
D.
The Galapagos.
Which Mediterranean island was awarded the George Cross for bravery in 1942?
C.
Malta.
Which African ape was first seen by a Western explorer in the 1850s? D.
The gorilla. A velocipede was an early name for what form of transport?
A.
Bicycle.
In which country is the Islamic holy city of Mecca?
C.
Saudi Arabia.
Was Frank Lloyd Wright a painter, an architect, or a composer?
D.
Architect.
Which British football team was nearly wiped out by a plane crash at Munich in 1958?
B.
Manchester United.
Who was the first person to fly over the North and South Poles?
B.
Richard E. Byrd. In which war did the Royalists fight the parliamentarians? B. English Civil War.
Which Sioux leader appeared in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show?
C.
Sitting Bull.
Who was the Roman goddess of hunting? C. Diana. In World War II, what was a Messerschmitt Me 110? A. A German bomber.
In which war was the Battle of the Bulge?
A. World War II.
In which year was the Battle of Britain?
B. 1940.
In which year was the Suez Crisis?
B. 1956.
Where was Archbishop Thomas Becket murdered in 1170?
D. Canterbury Cathedral.
What did Walter Raleigh go to search for in South America in 1595 and 1617?
B. El Dorado.
In which country would you find the medieval Alhambra Palace?
A. Spain. Which instrument is associated with Charlie Parker? C.
Alto saxophone.
What was the Praetorian Guard designed to protect? A.
Rome and its emperor.
When were the last hangings in Britain? B.
1964.
Which Canadian ice hockey player was known as the Great One? D.
Wayne Gretzky.
Which South American country once had Juan Perón as president?
A. Argentina. Which Shakespeare play was the basis for the musical West Side Story? A. Romeo and Juliet. Where were the murder holes in a medieval castle? D.
Above the Gateway Passage.
Great job for completing the quiz.
How many answers did you get right? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more fun quizzes. See you next time on Quiz Master Hub.